Are we going? We're going.
Hey.
All right, here we are. Episode 4.
Yeah. That record got me hot. Where we take classic records and we go on and on about them.
That's right, and we prattle on.
We dig deep.
Interminably.
Yes, we dig
about
deep.
things.
That is Barry Stock.
That is Rob Elba.
And we're actually went live since our last one. We're actually out there in the ether now.
Yep.
So people listen, and we've already gotten some feedback.
We have.
Mostly good.
Yeah, I mean, from.
All good. I think I haven't heard anything. Anyone who has anything bad today to say, they're keeping it to themselves, right?
Well, I'm sure they're not keeping it to themselves, but they're not telling us.
They're keeping it from us.
Yeah.
But one thing I just wanted to go over, because some people did mention, oh well, there's no music. We thought you were going to play the music, and the main reason. Well, there's a couple things. Number one, usually when you sit around and talk about a record, you're usually just talking about the record, and you're not actually listening to it and playing things. You're just talking. So that's sort of the idea of it. Was just talking about a record that you really like, and also. The main thing is that we don't have actual rights to get this.
Correct.
You should get rights to play someone else's music on a thing. And I know some people do on some podcasts, they do, and sometimes I think they get the rights, and sometimes I think they don't give a shit and they do it. But we don't want to do that. We don't want to get in trouble. We don't want to get yelled at. We don't want to get sued, obviously.
No.
And I don't want to just
because we don't have any money.
Yeah, well, and I don't want to just use play someone's thing. So here's my suggestion for someone. If you do, I would say any of the records we do are records that you should already own. So if you don't own a record we do, you should go out and get it.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. And I'm going to say if you want to preview them, a lot of the tracks you can hear it on YouTube, or you can
do that too.
You can hear it on Spotify.
So, right. So I say either listen to the whole thing before you listen to the podcast, and then you'll be like part of it. It'll be fresh and let's do it.
Right.
Or you could, if you really want to geek out, like as we go along with it, you could go along and play it.
Or if you want to see whether we can whet your interest, and it's like if we can toss some bait in the water, and if you want to go for it, and say after listening to the podcast, and then say okay, maybe I'll go check out this record. So
right.
I would say this record is one that probably is not as well heard as the other three records. Definitely less heard than Hunky Dory.
Right.
And Daydream Nation and OK Computer. But I've always felt like it's a record that should be heard more because because certain aspects of it.
And the record we're doing today, Barry?
The Days of Wine and Roses by the Dream Syndicate.
Yes.
From an LA band who just sort of appeared early 1983. The album came out. And I remember when I first heard it, I was sitting in my friend Billy Taylor's bedroom, and he had bought it at Record City in Orlando, and he slapped that bad boy on the turntable.
So you heard it a little bit after it came out at the time.
The word absolutely, I'm not going to say that anymore. Because I said it like 18 times the last podcast.
Okay. So well, you've already said it like 3 now.
Bingo. It's a goner.
Okay.
So I sitting in Billy Taylor's bedroom, and I was blown away because I was a huge Velvet Underground fan, and I still am. And I think this, to me, this is the closest anyone's ever come.
There's no getting away from the extreme Velvet Underground comparisons, but in a good way. It's not like a band, doing a bad Velvet Underground. It's actually a band doing a really good, Velvet Underground.
Really amazing sort of Velvet Underground. It's not an homage, but the sounds are informed definitely by the first two Velvet's records, big time.
And the singer Steve Wynn has a very similar voice to Lou Reed, very not your traditional rock singer.
That's right.
He's got that deep voice, so that definitely plays into it. And I'm gonna say right now, I'm gonna admit that back in the day, this record did not get me high.
Yeah.
Just because I wasn't exposed to it, and I was thinking about why, because now obviously last week when Barry said this is what I want to do, and I knew about the record, and I actually knew the Dream Syndicate because I actually got the record after this Medicine Show when it came out in 1984, and I remember hearing a song on I was already living up in Boston and
The
listening
Northeast generally.
listening
living in
to
the
college
Northeast.
radio. Yeah, and they were playing stuff from the new Dream Syndicate. So I got that, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
And I knew I should have probably, at some point, I should have gotten the first record, and I know I heard it back in the day, but I never dove deep into it until I did now. And it is a great record, but I think the main thing was, what happened was, back in that time, first of all, they were supposedly part of the
Paisley Underground.
How are they part of the Paisley Underground?
No,
I did not get that.
They were not.
Because there was...
it's not psychedelic rock at all.
The Bangles and the 3 o'clock,
Yeah,
which I
sure.
saw when I was up there. I saw the
Yeah,
3
sure.
o'clock. I saw the Bangles, I guess Rain Parade.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which were these
Nope,
jangly, jangly, very sick, but
No.
they are not that. Dream Syndicate
and
are
neither
not
is,
that.
And neither is the Medicine Show, the second record.
No, it's not. So I don't know. I guess it was just that time they just like to
They were in
lump
LA.
bands together.
They were in that locale. They were maybe they were part of that general scene, but they are nothing like
They probably
those
played.
other-
Yeah, they probably played shows with all these bands.
They're not like those other bands at
Right.
all.
So at that same time, when this record came out, I had gotten the a Gun Club record,
Oh, sure, yeah.
Fire of Love, and I
Sure.
really liked the Gun Club, and I got into that. So I had them already.
Yeah.
I had the Gun Club, and I did.
There's some similarities.
Yeah, there is. There absolutely is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there definitely is. And then later, and I also got the Violent Femmes when they came out, and there is some similarities there too.
Also,
somewhat there is,
yes.
mainly with Gordon
Lyrically-
Gano's lyrically, definitely, and also the voice, Gordon Gano's voice, same
Correct.
type thing.
Yeah.
Very. You could tell Gordon Gano's was obviously a big Velvets
Yeah.
fan, big
Yeah.
Lou Reed fan too. So those two bands I was really into. I didn't get, like I said, I didn't get into the Dream Syndicate as much until later. And even the thing was, I had just discovered the Velvet Underground then too.
Oh.
So I
okay.
was like,
All
yeah,
right.
because I was living down here in Florida, in South Florida, in the early '80s, and Charlie Pickett and the Eggs were like
Right.
the big shit band then. And
Right.
Charlie put out a single. His first single was "White Light Was Feelin'," a song called "Feelin'," back with "White Light, White Heat." And that was my first, you know, I first heard. I thought it was Charlie's song, and then I found out, oh no, it's Velvet Underground. And
You
Charlie
made the mistake of saying that in public, and somebody,
and looking
somebody
like an
corrected
idiot.
you.
Right. Oh well, actually, that's
Actually.
I immediately I went out and bought some Velvet Underground records and really got into them and loved them. And it's funny because I remember later on when I did hear the first song on this record, "Tell Me When It's Over," I recognized the riff because Johnny Sultan, who was the guitar player for. No, it's okay. We have
It's
guests
fine.
walking in.
We
We're
have
at
some people walking in.
We're recording this once again at the house of Brian Franklin,
Franklin.
Casa de Franklin, and young Franklin, Brian's son, just came in here. How dare he come into his own house when we're recording a
Right.
podcast? But it's all right. You're fine. You're welcome anytime, Nate.
Okay.
Just be quiet. It's wonderful. And
So you
Deb's,
guys-
we mentioned Deb's here too.
Lisa.
Yeah, Deb's here
Blame
too.
it
Yes.
on Lisa. And the X.
So you got a Velvet's record.
So the originals. Oh yeah, okay. No, but what I was saying was when I heard the riff to the first song on this, "Tell Me When It's Over,"
Oh, yeah.
it was very familiar because
Yeah.
Johnny Sultan, the guitar player for Charlie Pick and the Eggs, used to always noodle around with that riff. He played it because he was a huge Dream Syndicate fan. He was a
Well,
huge,
yeah.
and he would play that, and I thought it was his own thing. And then I
Yeah.
heard, oh, okay, that's the Dream Syndicate.
Yeah.
And all right, so let's go. That's the first song on the record, which is really a great song. Tell me when it's over.
Tell me when it's over. And my realization about this record, driving out here, I live 20 miles away, and driving out here was, I think this album is about one person. I think this record is about one individual that he may have had a relationship with. And if it's not, you can, I think you could frame it that way.
This person, so I'm assuming this person did drugs, a lot of drugs too. 'cause there was
Drugs
a lot of drug
and
references.
a woman who did drugs who he was involved with.
Oh, right, a woman. Okay, that
And-
makes sense. That definitely
and
makes
that's
sense.
just my guess. Just right now, 2018 guess after hearing this record a lot of times and then doing the math on what he's saying, because he's in this album he's addressing he's either addressing someone, talking to someone, or he's talking about someone.
Oh, okay.
And it seems like it's one person every song that it's being discussed. And
That's interesting.
but you know,
yeah, because here I'm thinking she was probably a drug addict, and here he says, "Oh, and the scars that you show, yeah, they might as well be for show." So I think we know what probably the scars he's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's another song where a scar comes up.
Right, exactly.
And and there's a song where, not drugs explicitly, but later on down the road, the song Halloween, definitely it's a story of someone going to see a drug dealer.
Such a great song too, very dark.
So
this album, I would say, definitely isn't a feel-good record.
No,
it's not a feel-good.
It's not a feel-good record, and it's
very
a
dark.
very it's an intense record, and the sounds on it are intense.
Yeah, the sounds are intense. See, the next record after this, I felt like he still had very dark themes, but the sound definitely opened up more. There's a lot of piano in that record.
There's piano in that
record. I guess a lot of people turned them off because it was definitely a departure from this record.
Yeah. This record has some of my favorite guitar sounds. Some of my favorite.
Great dual guitar work in this record is unbelievable.
And there's actually he still tours a version of the Dream Syndicate, which still has the original drummer.
Okay, not Carl
Percoda
who was the other guitar player, right?
But and they do a great. There's a couple of live versions on live shows that are on YouTube from two different radio stations. One is from 2015, I think, and it's in Seattle. It's not KCRW. It's one of that's LA. It's an amazing show. It's like 45 minutes long, and it does have the same vibe as this album, where the guitars are just there's a lot of off the hook and barely controlled.
Right. And I love. I guess I read the record. They recorded this record in 2 days, right?
Yeah.
And
recorded in 2 days and mixed in 1 day. So they had 3 days to do it.
Right. And it's definitely got that thrown off sound to it, which are also very Velvet Undergroundish, but just like so good. They captured. They just captured. The whole band playing together really good, and it's really raw, but just really good. Very
although there's not a lot of overdubs and
no, you could totally tell, and they definitely not a lot of reverb.
Okay, we had to take a quick break,
but
we're talking about the song "Tell Me When It's Over," which is also an amazing, because we all know that feeling. Just tell me when it's over.
Right.
A bad movie.
I just want to know. Yeah,
I
just want to know.
I'm stuck here. Just tell me when it's over. But there's a great line in the song. Oh, hey, that's some kind of answer. Yeah, but no question was posed. You got real imagination, man. That's ripped from real life. Because that's the kind of thing that someone says to you, patronizing says to you. Right. You got real imagination, man. Yeah, sure. Thanks, pal. Oh, you wanted to borrow $20? Yeah, okay. Here you go. See ya. Yeah, I'll never see that $20 again.
Right.
So moving on. Track 2.
Definitely clean.
Standing here waiting for you to come clean.
This is definitely a drug song, and the person in it is definitely not clean.
No, definitely not clean.
But it's a really good rock. This is like a really rockin' song, and definitely a drug song. And it's funny. I started when I was doing notes on these. I would say Velvetish. Oh, it's Velvetish, but that's dumb to say that because of course, every song on this record is Velvetish because it is. Yeah. There's no getting away from it. They're in that same. It's that same wheelhouse of just like very, very the lyrics too, because the lyrics are very direct. They're not real flowery, but they're very in your face, and they're very good at telling a story of what's going on very succinctly.
and there's a character on the other side of that.
Yes,
those lyrics.
Exactly.
And this song was actually what I was listening to when I thought, oh, I think these are all about one person.
That's great. I'm gonna actually go back and listen to the whole thing again, imagining that it's all the same person. That's really awesome that it is.
Got a phone call from your mother, and she wants to know where you've been, and.
Oh, I just want to say I got scared, nervous because I thought he really got a phone call from my mom, and I just got very nervous. But okay, good. You're reading from this song.
But my
right. That's it. Because of course, he's dealing. This girl's like a train wreck, so he got a call from her mom saying, "Have you seen her? Do you know what's going on?"
And I don't know where she's been. I'm not worried about you. Why should I be? I'm not worried about you. Don't worry about me. I'm not worried about you. Why should I be? Which is probably tongue in cheek because, he's definitely worried about this person. And something happens and they call you on. This is a needy, drug addicted person he's involved with.
Right. And I'm almost positive you're right that this is a real person he's writing about. It's not someone made up.
Yeah. All right. Track 3. That's what you always say.
It's got the really cool bass line opening it, which is, I think we didn't mention the bass player on this record, and then the record before was Kendra Smith.
Yeah.
She was the original Dream Syndicate bass player, and she, after this record, that's it. She was gone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and even they, in interviews with Steve Wynn about the new lineup of Dream Syndicate, the 2010s lineup of Dream Syndicate.
Right.
They asked him about whether he's been in contact with her, and he said no. He has not spoken with her. So, did she do anything after Dream Syndicate?
I said she did some projects here and there, and she was, I remember reading, and she sang a little on something that they did later on, but I don't know. I guess she just really was very adamant about not, one thing she didn't want to do was play in the Dream Syndicate anymore.
Well, maybe, they got the second album was recorded by, Sandy Pearlman, right?
The Blue Oyster Cult dude.
Yeah.
And strange production. I'm still, like I said, I'm a fan of that record. I really am a fan of that record. But a lot of people were not a fan, and it didn't do good commercially or as good critically as the first one.
Well, I listened to it yesterday, actually, and my assessment of it is side B, it's where it gets good at the beginning of side B, and then side A, I didn't enjoy at all.
Really?
And then side
not at all.
B,
but it's got Burn. Do you don't like that song, Burn?
I got side B, and I was like, this is okay.
Right.
Now we're onto something.
It was a mistake. I think it was a mistake putting him with this producer that didn't really, know much about the band, obviously.
Right. Well, he's also produced the second Clash album, so there was
that's right. Yeah.
So there were
which is great. Which is a great record, though.
Yeah, but I think the Clash sort of maybe disavowed the production on that record too.
And they didn't have piano all over like this.
No, they didn't.
It's got piano.
And it's hard to say,
everything.
like whether that was artist, whether Steve Wynn might have been like. It sounds like there's definitely an attempt to go in a very different direction.
I think he did, and I think he probably got this piano player and say, "Oh, this guy's good. I'm going to have him playing on all these songs."
Right. I didn't look it up, so it's not somebody it's not
while.
Steve Wynn playing piano. It's
no. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what you always say. Do you think, is this about a lover like a duplicitous? Is that the word?
Duplicitous.
Duplicitous.
Close. You were very close. Maybe something is mine and don't let go, and I don't let go. And then the stories and the words they're hearing gone.
Because that's what you always say.
But I also think this could just be a person that's bipolar,
full of shit. Bipolar.
But
okay,
where
right.
they run off at the mouth a lot, like your podcast hosts. and I try to sit and talk with you, but you know how moods change all the time. I try to wait a week or two, but by then I'd probably change my mind. So it's just changeability. But it's got a great opening riff, and it's got some incredible guitar playing in this song. That a beautiful guitar solo that is. Some of this stuff sounds really easy to play, and then you sit down and try and play it, and it's actually...
You do. Well, Barry sits down and tries to play it. I wouldn't even attempt it.
There's some... It's not all that... It's not as
No, it's good. Carl Percoda was a great guitar player.
But I don't know that he ever played like this again.
Right.
After I think this was... He played like a hollow body guitar through a distorted amp, so it's feedback all the time. There's a lot of feedback on this record.
I think this record is the sound of a band that had been playing a lot. They were like really big on the club scene in LA. So a band that was just playing a lot and really got really good, hot shit, good band, and just went in the studio and tore it out and did it. And it's hard to. That's usually like you catch fire in a bottle once when you do that with a band, and it's hard to ever.
It's hard to do it again. And there's actually a record store performance that you can see. It's on YouTube from before this record was recorded.
Well, I think it's actually out. It's a release. I think they actually released it officially. The live at W.
No. There's one that's even. There's one that's even. But like they're playing. It's like them playing at Radioactive Records in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
It's in a little record store, and it's not the one that came out a week before the record.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. Which is really good.
It is great, and it's obviously that they're ready to record this album.
Yes.
But the one that's. I guess it's probably maybe even a year before. It's a much rawer, rougher band, and you wouldn't look at that band and think that not too long from that rough performance they would be doing this record. That's
Oh, okay. Well, I got to check that. Man, you're on YouTube. How do you get any work done? You're just on YouTube.
I work at home. Like you remember the Seinfeld episode? I was by myself. And then what's come to track 4, which is my favorite track on the record.
Then she remembers. Yes, this is one of my favorites too. It's a really it's a faster, real driving song, and the guitars in this song are just like so good.
It's because this song is, if you want to compare it specifically to a Velvet song, this song is just like. Side 2 of White Light, White Heat. Then I heard her call my name, and it even starts with the word "then."
Oh, right.
It's got then I heard her call my name. It's got this just incredible Lou Reed guitar solo that's just insane, and it's about an insane person. I heard her call my name.
Right.
This song is about that. I think this song is about that same.
That girl. Yeah, this song is disturbing. In its subject matter because she shows a scar where her face met his ring. She remembers the pain, but she forgot his name. It's
all right. It really
didn't mean a thing. So it's like a textbook song about a mistreated
daughter. Textbook case of a mistreated daughter. He tells you what the song's about.
But then the thing I don't get is then she remembers. Oh, what she said.
She said something bad.
All right, but whatever she said didn't warrant her getting hit, though.
Yeah. He had teeth like a vice and a hand.
That's what's troubling about that. Like, what did she say?
He had teeth like a vice and a hand like a muzzle. He wasn't polite, but he had a way with words. On the day that he left, she was honestly puzzled. So you've got this person who is... You've got this fucked up relationship with either an older man or a father figure.
Right.
Or, but then she remembers, and he spends the second half of the song wailing the words, then she remembers what she said.
Right. And I'm hoping, I don't know Steve Wynn personally, but I'm hoping he's doing it in the thought of like she's thinking, that it must have been something she said, but I hope he doesn't really think that it's something she said.
Oh, I don't know. So
that's messed up.
I was also comparing this to this afternoon to the lyrics from X. So you had X, another LA band. They were a little older.
Oh, I thought it was a Kiss with that. What's that?
Well, they had some. They've got these similar characters.
It felt like a
songs.
Kiss. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they've got similar characters and abusive relationships.
Right.
Which you always assume is just John Doe and X scene. Maybe it's not. But theirs are a little more low or blue collar and a little more low rent.
Right.
This strikes me as more of a middle class, fucked up kids, but with
I love how you have different classes of abusive relationships.
But that's just
you're right. I think you're spot on.
I think that they're and the X had a sort of a thing for that. They talk about their the thing about the blue collar.
Oh yeah, definitely,
so,
absolutely, yeah.
And this seems more like suburban hijinks of a bad kind. But yeah, this song is if I'm gonna ever play a Dream Syndicate song for someone off this first record, it's Then She Remembers, because it's just blistering.
And if there's a song, that I listen to the most, it's the next song, Halloween. Because this song, once I dove back into this record, I just kept coming back to this song, Halloween.
Yep.
And this was written by Carl Percoda. I think he wrote this song.
Did not know that.
This is his song, and he's definitely piggybacking off of Steve Wynn's, songwriting style and everything like that, because this is another song about just some really dark subject matter.
But you're right. It does have a slightly different quality than the rest of the lyrics on the rest of the record.
Right. Because this is the one song I would say maybe wasn't about that one person. Because it's sort of more of like a story about. He says you shouldn't believe in the things in papers. They can't come true.
What's the next line?
And don't believe the things that you see on TV, because they'll never happen to you.
They'll never. And it's like, ooh, yeah, you're being, that's the kind of thing someone says to you when they want to put you in your place. They want you to know that don't ever think you're going to be anything, because you're just a piece of shit, basically. But there's also, this is the drug dealer. This is the Go See the Drug Dealer song.
Oh, right.
And it's Halloween. You think about Halloween, and you think about we think about the cartoon kid version of Halloween, but you also have vampires and ghouls, and definitely vampires, and that sort of feeling came up in this. He says, "Let's go for a ride," and he says it all the time. You know who else says? A few years later would say, "Let's go for a ride." Frank Booth and Blue Velvet.
Right. Yeah.
Want to go for a ride?
Yeah, this is definitely of that same vibe.
It is.
And I love, there's something about, this is a long line of great songs called Halloween.
Susie and the Banshees?
Susie and the Banshees have a great song.
Yeah.
Ministry has a early Ministry song. Halloween's pretty cool.
Halloween Every Day, right? Isn't that the Ministry tune?
I think it's called Halloween.
Oh, you're right. It's called Halloween. Okay.
But the Dead Kennedys, one of my favorite Dead Kennedy songs, is also Halloween.
Yeah, DKs, who may appear in a future episode.
Oh yeah, I would say that's a pretty good chance.
We already discussed where we're going to go.
I'm still waffling though. I'm waffling. I'm not.
Really?
Yeah.
Whether it's fresh fruit or whether it's.
Yeah, I'm not. I haven't decided. So it's not going to be.
We're all going to have a hard time because they got there's 30 songs on each record. They're like a minute long.
Right.
So
True.
The track by track is going to be we're going to be moving much quicker.
Another thing musically in this song that I love is the bridge. When it goes into the bridge, it's just a power chord bridge. There's no lead or anything. They just power through the bridge.
It's beautiful.
The guitars playing the chords. Yeah, it is beautiful. It really is.
It's a beautiful song, and
then it's got a great outro, which reminds me a little of like Sister Ray, like the Sister Ray type outro.
Oh, for sure.
With the riffing, with the guitar riffing, a great outro. Yeah, so it's good, and it's a great ending. This was the ending of side one. Great side one ending.
We're going to take a little break.
Let's do it.
We were just recording, not recording. We were just discussing the sort of Mr. Haney from Green Acres
setup at Franklin's
audio recording setup.
We've got a janky extension cord with another extension cord.
Two extension cords,
so it can reach to Barry's iPhone.
That's right.
It's very technical setup.
And we got one microphone going into a laptop and another microphone going into a phone. So we get very. It's hi-fi. It's very high fidelity.
this sound doesn't come by accident.
It's not
made by accident.
There's no accident here. So, Days of Wine and Roses,
Side
2, When You Smile, which has some very...
well, the opening line, this is the Velvet, this is when the bets are off.
Yeah.
What's the first line of the song?
I dreamed last night I was born 1,000 years ago. It's like heroin. Lou Reed's heroin, which is maybe a clue about the proclivities of the character, whoever is being discussed in this song.
And this song has some glorious feedback too, guitar feedback. And I'm a fan. I think you are too. I'm a big fan of guitar feedback done well. And this, it reminds me of there's a song by Gang of Four, Anthrax, the song Anthrax. That's got the crazy and
real
it
feedback.
Reminds me of that.
There's great Jimi Hendrix feedback, which is controlled and you're using it for sustain.
Right.
And then there's feedback which is just the guitar just squealing. And you're trying to make it stop. But he's not trying to make it stop in this. Right. So it definitely adds to the mood for the song. Because he's in love with this person. And this person's fucked up, but when you smile, I don't know what to do because I could lose everything in a minute or two. Seems like the end of the world when you smile. And this is cool because this is like the love song of the record. But it's a fucked up love song, really fucked up. There's a Dylan-esque lyric in here too. Well, there's never been a man who's been any more than bones in sack, but it doesn't take much to hold the possibilities back. And
that is great. Yeah,
and that's really Dylan. Dylan is in there as well, but this is the heroine of the album. This is the it definitely. This song is an homage to that song, "Heroin." It's got to be.
Absolutely. Duh.
Yeah.
But it's great. It's still great. They get away with. You can get away with it if it's still a really great song, and it is a great song. And it's done great. So this is also one of my favorites on the record. Is the opening of side 2 is just really effective.
Until Lately, and this is one where I wasn't until I looked it up really sure about the first line, and I'm still not really sure. I'm guessing that these were vetted lyrics, but in my area there's a chain of being. And most of the attention is paid to lower things. Well, line 2, the second line I kind of get. The first line, a chain of being, is a
Did you check? Now, did you check? Is that what it's really saying? Because I know the lyrics are, when you look up lyrics online, a lot of times it's
this is from a site where they've been okay. And I've looked at other places I can't get, and I sat and listened to it for a while and tried to come up with an alternative.
Okay,
and
so
I have a friend in Seattle who's a big blues fan, but he's from Virginia. He's not from the deep South, and so he'll send me a text and say, "Can you figure out what this blues singer is saying?" And because I did grow up in rural Florida, I do have. The vernacular is more available to me, and so I'll listen to something and be okay, and I'll call him back and say, "This is what that means, and this is what they're talking about." In this case, I'm not sure. It could just be that's what he says.
This is like this song to me. It's another like story song, but is it sort of like someone in the wrong place at the wrong time type thing? Because he says, in this world, there's one equation: the harder the work, the better is your station.
Yeah, and this may put paid to my theory about it being about one person, because this seems to be about something that happened to somebody else.
And exactly. And this is a great line when he says, "Well, tonight on the news, I heard them say the man in the plaza had a resume." That's a great rhyme, by the way. To rhyme say with resume is awesome.
He said he had a resume, that means he doesn't need the resume anymore.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't think he won the lottery.
Right.
I'm gonna say something bad happened to him.
Something bad. Yeah. Which is just about every song in this record. Like it's something bad happened to someone.
Yeah. This is not your good times record, but it's not a downer either. It's just sort of reportage. It's kind of like...
Well, it's not a downer to you because you're a dark, twisted person.
That
Maybe
is
to a normal
true.
person, it might be a dad.
All right. So
To me and you, with our
okay.
blackened souls.
Maybe.
That's
That could be true.
Right.
I might not have
Caveat.
the
We have
best.
to throw a caveat in
Yeah,
there.
right. This restaurant reviewer has peculiar tastes.
Exactly.
And then Too Little Too Late, sung by...
Kendra.
Right.
Kendra sings this, and this reminds me of something Nico, like a Nico song, or something that could be on Loaded too, because
Nico.
Did I say Nico?
He's reading. This is what happens
thought-
when you read the words in your head.
I swear to God, the sad thing is, I thought beforehand, well, make sure I say it right, and then I said.
Because you're a
I
person,
said
you
Nico.
read the words in your head, and that's how that happens. If you
It is Nico, right? It's not
It's Nico,
Nico.
yeah, sure. But-
Some people must call her Nico.
no, I'm gonna.
I'm sorry.
But no, I have someone that I'm married to that reads words in her head, and that's and she even things that she knows she'll mispronounce because she's reading the word in her head.
Well, a Nico song then, but
We'll edit this.
definitely
We're gonna edit this out.
It's pretty. It's definitely pretty
sure.
sounding.
Yeah.
and it has a really nice slide in it too.
It does, but it's still off kilter. It's a little bit out of tune-ish and enough to give you the sort of queasy
Right.
rocking
Well, it's
boat
called
feeling.
"Too Little, Too Late," so it's
Little,
like
Too
the
Late.
song. The song comes in towards the end of the record, and maybe it's a little too little, too late.
I'm not going to warn you. It's gone too far for that. I'm not going to warn you. Too little, too late. So whatever's happened is over. And odd that the female is singing this. So maybe this is that other. Maybe this is
That character finally getting her little.
maybe.
This is her song to sing.
Maybe, yeah. Could be totally wrong.
And now Barry, in our little break when we were refilling our drinks, he told me that Kendra actually did do something after this. She played in this band,
Opal,
which I had heard of, but Barry was
Opal,
familiar with
Opal
them than
became
me.
Mazzy Star, but Opal put out a
Right, they became Mazzy Star. That's it.
Right.
Okay, that's it.
But when she was in Opal, they had a song called "Happy Nightmare Baby." That is a fantastic song. The rest of the record's good. The EP's it's good.
That was the one you just played for me, right?
But this was really great.
It's good.
And if you
good.
if you play it for people, you play it at a club. People are like, "Oh wow, this is great. What is this?" But it just I remember hearing it on alternative radio in the mid '80s. But after that, crickets. And turns out we found an article where they talk about Kendra's disappearing act. So she did go away, and she's put out an album in 2017. So she has come back a little bit,
just recently, but not
recently.
joining Steve Wynn on any.
I don't believe so.
No.
Yeah,
not yet.
Shit like
not
that
as
goes.
of yet.
There's stuff that and don't get to know. Don't meet your heroes. It's better just to like.
So are you saying Steve Wynn
I have
might
no
be
idea.
an asshole?
No, I actually know somebody who played with him and seemed to enjoy his company quite a bit because he Armistead
He
Welford.
seems like a good. When you listen to the live, his
Yeah.
talking to the crowd and the live things, he sounds like kind of a fun guy.
He does, yeah.
Good sense of humor.
Armistead Welford, the bass player for Love Tractor, the Athens band.
Wait, say his name again, please.
Armistead Welford.
That is. I
There's
love
a southern.
that band. That was great.
That's not southern enough.
Love Tractor, great instrumental band from Georgia.
They are. Well, they had some singing too, and Mike Richmond, he's a cool guy.
Later on, they did.
Later on, they did. Well, the singing starts pretty quick.
Okay.
Like second or third record.
Right, but I have the first Love Tractor record, and I saw them.
Oh,
actually,
yeah.
When they came down and they played in Florida, and I saw them, and I
That
think
one.
actually the guy did sing one or two
One song,
songs.
but that was a very influential album there in the South anyway. That first Love
Yeah,
Tractor.
no, that was great. I used to love playing that for people because it was like so weird. Oh wow, this is like an instrumental band from
Yep,
Georgia, and
yep.
it's really cool.
Well, Armistead played with Steve Wynn in a band in the 1990s. I remember he was touring with Steve Wynn, and he had nothing but good shit to say. So,
Okay.
but the last song on this album is the title track, and it is a monster.
It is the Days of Wine and Roses, the song, and it is. It's a great. The opening of this song reminds me of the Gun Club. It could be like a Gun Club song with that chugging.
Well, who knows? I mean, Gun Club were L.A., right?
Yes, they were L.A. Yeah, on the same scene, definitely. Yeah, so I'm sure they played a lot of shows together. Did some drugs together, maybe. And
maybe.
But this song is just a great jamming song. They have this is
the Sister Ray of the because it's longer and it's got a lot of a lot of it's driving, extremely driving.
And then when it gets to the end, once he's done singing, you think the song can end. It doesn't end. It goes on. It keeps going, and it gets fast. They speed up, which is awesome. I love that when a band doesn't give a shit. They're just playing, and they start speeding up at the end. And,
use a lot of tape. They can't, studio time is expensive, man.
It's really, it's great, and I love it. Everybody says I don't care, but I'm just trying to remember the days of wine and roses.
Which is this woman, this character, and this is the final. This is word from outside as she's on the ledge again, drawing a card and threatening everything. I'm here wondering I'm not sure. I'm here wondering where I got in. I don't think this is. I'm here wondering. These lyrics are wrong. So,
are you reading those lyrics, genius, again?
Yeah. I am, man. Everybody says, well, I don't care. Well, I don't care. This person who's on the ledge is pretty much burned all their bridges, and the person watching it, which I'm assuming is the protagonist, our protagonist, Steve Wynn, is trying to figure out whether he's responsible for this. And I think he probably isn't. The priest from the parish is looking for persuasion. The man with the notepad, a reporter. There's a reporter. So she's on the ledge.
Yes.
And there's somebody from the newspapers there. Back in the days when they took notes on a notepad. The man with the notepad wants verification. Somebody says, this was my creation. Her mother says it's your fault. You never looked after her. So he's fishing around.
Her mom again, and this is the mom from earlier in the record when he was talking. The mom was calling.
Her father arranging to get back the furniture. He wants the fucking furniture back because it's, it's from a rental store and you got to take this rented furniture and he put the deposit down.
They're going down into the low rent X territory here. With
pretty much. Yeah, sure.
But for me, the saddest part is that they're trying to remember the days of, but there were no days of Brian and Roses with this. There wasn't. But there wasn't with this family and everything. There weren't good times early on. There weren't. It was shit from the start.
And who knows? It could be. This could be a family member. This is not necessarily a girlfriend. I hadn't thought about that either. This could be a sister or somebody, or just somebody he knew.
Right.
But when that song "When You Smile,"
maybe Kendra. Maybe it's Kendra. Maybe that's why she. It's probably not.
Let's not do that. But as a whole, as an album, to me, it's. I'm going to tell you, it's one of my favorite rock records of all time.
Yeah, no, I totally get it, especially with you. With I know your love. I mean, I like the Velvet Underground. I'm a big Velvet Underground fan. Barry's a huge Velvet
probably more than average Velvet's fan.
And I could see this totally, and it is great. Like I said, it was strange to me how I kind of missed this record back in the day, and just didn't get to latch onto it the way listening to it now. I realize, wow, this is like from start to finish. It's a great. There are no duds on this record.
No, it's very concise and it's very right. It's not that long an album, so when it's over, you're like, oh, wow, that's it. And so it tells this story, and maybe it's a unified story, and maybe I'm just totally full of shit. But Steve Wynn, it's it would be like. Oh no, that's all wrong. But I also was thinking about on the way out here about people when you write lyrics, and even when you ask a songwriter, what something's about, unless it's a song about how to hook to tie a knot and hook go fishing and catch a fish. When people are writing stuff, the subconscious is at work.
And if you're asking them that like 10, 20 years later, they're not in the same headspace. So
they're not the same person. Most of the cells in their body have turned over.
Right. So when they tell you, I don't know what the hell it's about, they could be being honest. They could be honest. They could have, just totally. But that's what's cool. It's sort of out there, and it's out there, and then we get to listen to it and sort of put our own. And
we're always going to do that anyway. Even if they tell us what it's about, everybody's coming at it from everybody's living in their own little universe.
Me and Barry are arrogant enough to tell someone they're wrong. That's not what
and hopefully you'll tell us if we're wrong. So if you have a different take on this record, and you're like, okay, pal, I read, I researched this, and you have no idea what you're talking about, hit us up at trgmh33@gmail.com. And where are we going next week?
Next week, put some thought into this, and I definitely want to do a Who's Kudu record, and I was waffling between New Day Rising and Flip Your Wig, and I decided on Flip Your Wig for many reasons, which we'll expound upon when we do it, but Flip Your Wig, it was the last one they did before they went to a major label. Right. And it was a big record for me. The first time I saw them, the record hadn't come out yet, but they would always, Who's Kudu would always play songs ahead of. They would put out records so quickly that they would play songs from their next record.
Those albums were coming out in a hurry.
Right. So I saw them on the New Day Rising tour, and they were already playing Flip Your Wig songs, which were great live. And I'm like, wow, what's that song? And then I realized a couple of months later.
What year did you see them?
I was up in Boston already, so probably 84 or 85.
Yeah, because they played in Orlando on the New Day Rising tour, and you saw them in Boston, and I saw them in Orlando. Guess who saw the better show?
Well, we'll go over all that, and real quick, I want to now at the end, I want to talk about. Podcasts, maybe other podcasts that we listen to. A podcast maybe that we listen to that we want to recommend to people. So since I was the one that thought of this and I didn't even tell Barry, I'll go first.
Okay, you go first.
I just started listening to a podcast called Turned Out a Punk, and it's Damian Abraham, who's actually the singer for Fucked Up, a great band called Fucked Up from Canada, and he's got.
Now I have to mark this explicit. God damn you!
Well, you should mark them all explicit.
Yeah, they are.
We have no.
Yeah,
filter.
don't worry.
But it's a really cool podcast. He just talks to people about when they first got into punk and how it changed their life, and it's good. It's really fun, and he's another, you could tell, just like a music geek, obsessive, like we are, and like probably most people that listen to these podcasts are. So I would definitely check that out.
Okay, well, I got a podcast too, but it's not a music podcast, but it is.
No, that's fine.
It is related to our lives here in this seedy swamp, bound by the gigantic swamp of the Everglades, South Florida. It's a podcast called Felonious Florida, and it's the third installment. Just dropped yesterday, and Felonious Florida is by a reporter from the I believe the Sun Sentinel, or someone who's worked for the Sun Sentinel in the past, and it's about some murders that took place, and they are it's not that they're unsolved, it's just that the people who have committed them they've never managed to punish them, and it's fantastic. Wow. And it is gritty and seedy, and it involves drugs and guns and Hollywood, Florida, where I'm from.
Florida experience.
It's the total Florida experience.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Felonious Florida.
I'm going to listen to one of those tomorrow morning.
Oh, yeah. It's great. Highly recommended. So, that's it for this week from That Record Got Me High. That's Rob Elba.
That's Barry Stock.
And we'll see you in 7 days.
See you.